If you had the chance to actually look better, look bigger, get more sponsors, get more deals essentially from just blasting a little bit of gear, would you do it or would you not, you know? And if you are in actual danger of losing your status altogether because there are people basically outshining you with their physiques. Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a certified personal trainer and a nutrition coach, and today we're going to be looking at Shizzy the Glizzy. So this guy was apparently an ex-convict and drug addict who presumably turned their life around. I think it's a very powerful message to give forward to people, but recently he's been under a lot of scrutiny, especially regarding his natural status, which he wholeheartedly claims to be the case. So we're going to be taking a look at his actual physique and determining whether or not this guy is natural. So we have his Instagram here. He has almost 1 million followers, so doing pretty good here. Young LA sponsored, Gorilla Mind sponsored, brand that is very, very welcoming to gear users specifically. So in his pin post here, he is at a show looking dicey as fuck. Yeah, and of course having the Ziz Boses and the tattoo at the generic Ziz location. Already not looking that good in terms of natty potential, but in terms of his physique, it is definitely natty achievable. Hence, a lot of people seem to think that he is indeed natural because his physique doesn't look that impressive. Like, keep in mind, this guy is huge, but he is not like Chris Bumstead or Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So he is pretty okay looking. And of course, if we go further down, we can see that his physique is relatively still the same. This picture here, he is looking more natural than usual. Obviously, the higher level of body fat, but still looking dicey as hell. You know, more veins popping out here. Amazing genetics, honestly. Got a little bit of a boner here. That is also nice to see on Instagram. Legs looking awesome. And of course, the front double bicep. So this guy is, people often don't realize when they call someone unnatural is that for Instagram, literally anyone can look unnatural. There's this guy on Instagram called Goob who is also a fitness coach and personal trainer. And his whole shtick is basically exposing the Photoshop that all these influencers go through. And you'd be surprised at how many of these people actually don't look that big in real life, because for Instagram, everybody's going to get the best lighting, the best pump, the best Photoshop to accompany it. And obviously for videos like this, it's a bit harder to do, but it's still possible. So here he has basically captioned how to get bigger biceps, pick up some weight, curl into the blood in your arm, won't let you bend your arm anymore. So this is Ryan Humiston level of knowledge here. Basically just chasing the pump, just like Arnold used to, which his physique isn't far off actually. Like, he, in some pictures, his chest looks almost as big as Arnold's used to. Look at the side tricep here. Also having hair here, apparently. Wonder why he got rid of that, I wonder. Maybe could be that he actually started losing it, or he simply just decided not to wear it anymore. This picture here is an old one for sure, but he is still looking pretty good. So, do I think he's natural? I don't think so. But it is not because his physique is not attainable naturally. There are other factors in play here that sort of make me a little suspicious, I guess. So the first thing is that a lot of these influencers have their bread and butter come from their influencer status in a way. If you had the chance to actually look better, look bigger, get more sponsors, get more deals essentially from just blasting a little bit of gear, would you do it or would you not? You know? And if you are in actual danger of losing your status altogether because there are people basically outshining you with their physiques, especially if you don't have a whole lot going on for you in terms of personality, which I'm not saying Shizzy doesn't. Shizzy has a cool name. You know, are you really going to lose all of that simply because you're not big enough? I don't think so. Social media nowadays gives a lot of incentive for people to actually start blasting gear. And if we look at this guy here, and this was 2022, but I'm still assuming that this is an older video than that, because if this guy went from this to what he's at now in a year, then that is definitely very sus to me. let's see. He is looking still pretty good, but like here he is looking more like an average lifter that works hard and has progress, you know. So this is all 2022. That is very suspicious. I think here he is definitely natural. But at some point he started dabbling in a little more of that creamy sauce, I guess you could say. Keep in mind that this guy is like 6'5", and I can say from personal experience being 6'2", that it is very hard for taller guys to look jacked. It is almost as easy for us to build muscle than shorter guys. In fact, it's exactly as easy, because muscle growth it has a lot to do with your genetics in terms of potential, but you know, like 200 pounds of muscle on a 5'2" guy is gonna look drastically different than 200 pounds of muscle on a 6'5" guy, you know. He's apparently 6'5" and 250 pounds. So another tool that people usually use to determine if someone is natural or not is the fat-free mass index. So this is a calculator that I usually use. Actually, I'm lying, I don't usually use this, but just out of curiosity, I thought I'd plot his numbers in here. So 6'5", I'm not sure if this is true, because some sources say that he's 6'3". Maybe he actually even grew an actual 2 inches from the growth hormone use, if he in fact did use growth hormone. So his body fat is, I would say, somewhere around between 7 to 12. So I went with the average 10%, although it's more likely that he's closer to like 9 or 8. And we can see that this fat-free mass index is giving him a index of 26. That is in the suspicious territory. So if he in fact is like 6'3", we pull that down a little, well, he's like very suspicious, right? And if we even bring down the body fat a bit more, then it gets even worse, right? So is this natural? Honestly, judging from purely the fat-free mass index, I would say he's very genetically gifted, and maybe his stats aren't really as good as he says he is. I would say like maybe he's closer to like 240 pounds at about like 6'3", and also, you know, the pictures are done in a way that he looks leaner than he really might be. So I would say that his physique is attainable naturally. Even for a guy this tall, it's definitely achievable. So while I was about to click publish on this video, Shizzy apparently got stabbed. And looking at how he got back into the gym on the same exact evening with minimal scarring, it does make me a bit more suspicious.
Story short is I got stabbed. I was going grocery shopping and I went to go step out my car, walking toward the grocery store. This dude came up from behind me. What I did was I literally just cracked this dude's skull. The other dude, I just grabbed his throat and I fucking squeezed really hard. I grabbed his throat, squeezed really hard until I heard a crunch. I'm not a violent person, but if you fucking do that stuff, bro, you put yourself in that situation, you're gonna get hurt.
His blood work apparently did not contain any information about growth hormone or IGF-1 or any sort of growth factors. So it could very well be that he is on some sort of peptides that increase the amount of muscle mass that he's able to put on, with the added side effect of also increasing the rate at which his body is healing. Got the nice ass salute going on here. Okay. So I don't usually like judging people from their past, but knowing that this guy was a drug addict before, I wouldn't put it past him to actually dabble in some gear. And again, being a fitness influencer, having basically his entire life depend on how he presents himself online, why wouldn't he use gear? The general consensus on the internet seems to be that he is in fact not natural. So if we look at these two posts here, this is the classic circle jerk of r/natty or not. This was done when he still had 40k followers, so very, very early in his career. And you know, yeah, like tattoo in the Ziz zone is all you need here. He competed at least once, so competing doesn't necessarily mean that you are unnatural. There are a lot of natural bodybuilders that compete, but yeah, the fact that nobody competes natural without wanting to get laughed off the stage. People think that competing in tested shows clearly proves that they are natural, when in fact you can definitely get past the drug tests by, for an example, injecting a shorter ester before the show. So, you know, he could easily inject testosterone suspension, for an example, which has the half-life of 4.5 hours. as opposed to testosterone enanthate, which has the half-life of 7 days, for an example. So this guy actually apparently took a blood test proving that he is natty. Is he actually natty, or was he just natty while taking the test? No pun intended. But you can definitely get around these blood tests. I mean, if you can get around a blood test in a tested competition, although they are purposely done to avoid, people getting caught, essentially, because there's so much money in this industry that if everybody who was using gear got suspended from the show, then we wouldn't have these mass monsters on stage anymore. But yeah, like taking an actual test that they have control over, they can easily edit out. They can take the PDF file and just replace, like inspect element and take one line of text and replace it with a normal healthy range. So obviously manipulation is a very real thing that can happen here, and I wouldn't put it past anyone really. Like, there are so many fitness influencers out there that don't talk about their use, not because they would want to keep the sponsors, but because they don't want their girlfriends to know, right? So if they came out and said, yeah, I took some Trenbolone, and their girlfriend and parents would be like, oh my god, what the fuck? These people's parents and family don't know. Obviously the public isn't gonna know, and the public is gonna get lied to. So
first, things seem normal until you get to BUN, which was a little bit high, 24, when reference range is 6 to 20. Then we have the AG ratio and the AST being a little bit high as well. Not insane numbers, but obviously outside of reference range. Now here's where we get to the really interesting stuff: luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. If you guys don't remember, Marcus Fit went with us to do the test, and he's a known gear user. I had him send me his blood panels out of curiosity, and as expected, his LH and FSH are tanked. This is very common. You see this with D-Trend's blood work as well. So what were Shizzy's results? Perfectly normal. And of course, I know you guys are interested in the testosterone and free testosterone, but those results aren't in yet. But the SHBG was also normal. You guys know that I like to be transparent with you, so I'm not going to pretend like I am the best suited person to read blood work. So I reached out to one of the most knowledgeable people on this app when it comes to these things. This is Fit Dad Mitch, and this is what he had to say. Man, there is absolutely nothing in there that would indicate to me that he is unnatural in the slightest. You can screenshot and read the rest, but all in all, to see somebody with this knowledge making this bold of a statement was interesting, to say the least. We'll have those results for testosterone and free testosterone out for you in part 4. TNF out.
So the issue that I have with these sort of blood tests is, first of all, they can be faked, obviously. Second of all, a lot of these actual influencers that, do these sort of reaction videos and cover these sort of blood tests and in general, like everything, like all the darkest secrets, understand that this is a big industry, and it is not uncommon for people to bribe other influencers to basically cover their ass. Again, I'm not saying that this is the case here. I'm just saying that the fitness industry with the rise of social media has gone tits up in the worst way possible. A lot of corruption for sure. Does this mean that they are corrupt and they had a deal in the back end saying like, hey, I'll make a video about your blood test, just send them over and like edit a little bit, and like I'll say like you're natural? Could be the case, but it could also be the case that this was a genuine test, blood test, and Shizzy is just simply on TRT and managed to basically come off, use something like gonadotropin monotherapy, also known as HCG, to basically recover his HPTA to a human level, and then just basically hop back on when the blood test was over. So if we look at the comments on this, again, Natty or Juice subreddit, where this blood test TikTok analysis was posted, people saying, hey guys, I'm natural too, I haven't taken anything for a month or so. So a lot of people seem to think that when you come off gear for like a month or however long you need to come off to actually show natural results on a blood test, that you will lose your gains just like this, It's not the case. You can definitely keep most of your gains. You can switch to testosterone suspension or testosterone no ester, which is, I guess, the more common name for that. People seem to have this consensus that he is 1000% on gear, apparently, just like here. Like I said, he could be natural, but I'm still gonna say that he is not, because to me it's just way too many factors in play here. And yeah, passing a drug test is, even if you are 100% on gear at the time of doing the test, there are still compounds you can utilize and methods you can utilize to pass the test. I mean, there are people straight up out there buying fake penises that they fill with fake urine, and then they basically just pretend to give a urine test. Of course, testosterone usually is measured from the blood, but at the same time, you know, if you can fake a piss test, you can fake a blood test. So in conclusion, in my opinion, he is not natural. The fact that he is making most of his money from his fitness career, the fact that he has a pretty dicey physique at 6'3" or 6'5" even, which some sources say he is 6'5". The fact that he used to be an ex-drug addict, and also his general stats just look a bit iffy to me. Of course, he could easily be natural and I could just be speaking out of my ass here, but in my experience, having seen people like him walk around, they are generally not natural, and of course, lying about your natty status is nothing new online. Let me know what you guys think, and if you think he's natural, then feel free to explain why you think that way, and if you agree with me, then feel free to explain why you agree with me as well. But yeah, this is it for this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Fly high.